Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my secular obeisances unto you. Together, Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devin Saraswatim Prayasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very means of conquest, one should offer respective obligations unto personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Nar Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टकी. By regular attendance in the classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of the service to a pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and the loving service unto personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnanatimrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my secular obligations unto him. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class. So we are reading from 17th. Go to the library. Okay. So we are reading from first canto, chapter number 17, and the name of the chapter is Punishment and Rewards of Kali. Right? And today we have to do verse number 4 and 5. Right? So far, just for brief summary, what happened? Maharaj Parikshit, like the context which is going on, Maharaj Parikshit is the king of the world, right? And then, when Maharaj Parikshit was ruling at that time, Dwapar Yuga, almost end of Dwapar Yuga. Actually, Krishna left at the end of Dwapar Yuga. As soon as Krishna left Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga started, right? So Parikshit Maharaj became king in that. But Parikshit Maharaj, because he was so much pious, he was not allowing Kali Yuga to enter into his kingdom. Right? So Kali Yuga actually didn't start. It kind of start, but it didn't start also. We will discuss, right? But because of his piety, he was not able to flourish or not able to get any place. We'll see in the story later on, right? So what the scene so happened when Parikshit Maharaj was out to check his kingdom, right? So what he saw is there are three personalities actually: a bull, a cow, and a king. A person dressed up as king. So bull was dharma. That bull was representing dharma. Cow was representing earth. And then this third person who is dressed up as king, though he looks like Shudra, right? So he's dressed up as king and he's beating the cow and bull, right? So far in this chapter, what has happened in the first three verses, right? Let me quickly read it. So just to give so basically both are that personality, right? Who is dressed up as king. Actually, he was Kali Yuga. So he was beating cow and bull, and they were suffering like anything, both cow and bull, right? So let's go to the fourth chapter. Let's read the last. Although the cow is beneficial because one can draw religious principle from her, she was now rendering poor and calfless. Her legs were being beaten by Shudra, which is that king, Shudra king, which is Kali Yuga. There were tears in her eyes, and she was distressed and weak. She was hankering after some grass in the field, right? So let's read the fourth one.
Hare Krishna, you're not sharing the verse.
Oh, is it? It's not coming, Prabhu?
It's showing that Adhyanatam, that's it.
Oh, sorry, Prabhu. Sorry. Let me again share. How about now, Prabhuji? Can you see? Verse 117.4. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Paparachartama aruddha Shatra Savara Parishadam Mega Gambira Vacha Samora Preta Karmukha Paparacharata Manuruddha Karta Savara Ryashyatam Mega Gambira Vacha समप्रोता करमुखा पापरोचारता अनुरुद्धम कर्तस्वरा पराच्छिदम् मेघा गंभीरा वाचा समारोपिता करमुखा synonyms paparacha inquired ratam chariot arudha seated on shatrasavara gold paricharadam embodied with megha cloud gambhiraya exoneration vacha sound samproyata well equipped karmukha arrows and bows. Translation: Maharaj Parikshit, well equipped with arrows and bows and seated on gold embroidered chariot, spoke to him, the Shudra, with a deep voice sounding like a thunder. Right? So, like I said, Maharaj Parikshit was on a tour for his kingdom, and then he saw this scene. Right? And then let's read the purport. An administrative head or king like Maharaj Parikshit will full majestic authority, well equipped with weapons to chastise miscreants, can challenge the agents of age of Kali. Then only will it be possible to counteract the degraded age. And in the absence of such strong executive head, there is always disruption of tranquility. The elected show bottle elective head as representative of degraded public cannot be equal with a strong king like Maharaj Parikshit. The dress or style of royal order does not count. It is one's action which are counted. Right? So here in this verse, uh, valor of Maharaj Parikshit is described, but very important thing which Prabhupada writes here is the dress or style of the royal order doesn't count. It is the one's action which are counted. Right? So Kshatriyas are given a lot of privileges, like because see we have four varnas, right? Brahma, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, right? So they all have their specific duties, right? Brahmanas duties like to read scriptures and then propagate the knowledge or give knowledge to the people, right? And Kshatriya, their duty is to protect, and that's why they are trained into that, like for protection, right? And Vaishya duty is to mercantile class, basically like to cow protection as well as to do the trade. And then Shudra is to help all these three, right? I was hearing in one of the lecture in the morning, right? Like actually it comes in the next verse, or like which we are going to cover. Uh, uh, Actually it will come, like we will talk about it, right? Like, but the main thing in here is like in this verse especially, Kshatriya is given lot of privileges because actually I was hearing like Chanakya Pandit, right, who is a very famous uh, uh, like in India, right? Like a lot of his quotes are like what he says is a king should be very pious. Like king, according to Chanakya Pandit, right? Like this scripture is written, right? Like according to him, king should only sleep for 2 to 3 hours because he's fully busy, either practicing like his battle skills or and what he was saying is 1/4 of his day, which is 5 to 6 hours, right? He should do only spiritual practice, because if he doesn't do that, like when people come for him for advice or like for making the judgment, he will pass the wrong one, right? So he should be very spiritually strong, like to in order to execute his duty rightfully, right? And that's why if we see like in the olden times, right, at the time of uh, like if you see in Treta Yuga or Dwapar Yuga, right? In Treta Yuga, we see, right, Maharaj Dashrath had Vishishta Muni to advise him, right? Any decision Maharaj Dashrath has to take, like he asked Vishishta Muni and other the advisor on his board, right? Like all the Brahmanas. Even so and so when Dashrath was considering to make Lord Ram as the king, right? He put a proposal in front of the assembly as well as in front of Brahmanas. What do you think? Right? He didn't like in the position of a king. He could have said like my elder son will become king. He could have declared, but he first took the opinion of the Brahmanas, right? So it is very important, right? Like that characters that the problem in the society is, and actually Prabhupada also used to say that my one of my mission is to make good brahmanas in the society, because that is the need of the hour. There are no brahmanas, right? Like, yeah, like if you go back to most of the things in the world, what is happening outside is ritual only, right? Kar puja, grah pravesh, right? All that, and it's all what they are looking for is pandit, or that is like just to do a puja, like you don't know like what you are reading. Also, you're not practicing. Also, but just give me dakshina, right? That much society has degraded, right? But actually, there is a like if you see like what I was hearing, right? And then my mother also used to always say, right? Like especially like when you when somebody take a donation, right, from someone, actually that karma also comes with it when somebody takes the donation, right? So then you should be spiritually strong to digest that karma, right? Like the problem what happens is, like when you are not spiritually strong, when you're not just when you're not practicing a spirituality, right? So that karma comes, and then it is very hard to digest that, right? So it is very important, we should anybody who is practicing, right? Everybody should have a set time for practicing their spirituality, right? Like set time in morning and in the evening, we have a set time, right, to eat, right? We don't do multitasking, right? Nowadays it is even more degraded, right? uh, uh, Say, actually, I always often quote that, right? Like I see VPs and directors in corporate, right? They make big money, big money they make, but they don't have even time to eat also. While eating itself, like they are just eating a slice of bread, uh, and little butter on it or something like that, because they don't have time. Then I was saying, the lowest in that chain, right? At least that person, at least he's saying, oh, I have a lunchtime, and then I will, don't disturb me. But VPs and directors, they cannot even say that, because so much chaos is going on, right? Uh, so. So what I meant to say is, like, we should always take a pause in our life and always think why I'm doing this thing, and for what is my purpose, and why I'm doing this thing, right? Even like if like as a grasta, if you're earning, right, or as a brahmachari, right, like you're serving in the temple or full time, right, like you should always take a pause and ask, what is my purpose? Like let's say for like in terms of grasta, right, if like the the why that whole grasta ashram is like to so that as a collective family we can make progress in Krishna consciousness, right? Like whatever money we are earning, right, use in service of Krishna. But at the same time, like if we are not let's say we offered food to the Lord, right, and then we waited for 15 minutes, then we washed the plate, and now we are sitting and eating honoring prasadam together, right? But at that time if you are arguing, right, it's not going to help, right? Or if we are on the phone, right, like that is the most dangerous thing in this Kali Yuga, right? If you are on the phone, right, and then just looking at the meetings and all that, you actually miss the whole point. Like the cooking which you did for 1.5 hours, right, and then you did the right everything right, right? You cooked, you offered to the Lord, but when you are actually honoring the prasadam, like if you are on your phone or in the meeting, like it is wastage of time, right? I also sometimes struggle, especially in the breakfast, but I at least try to do, like I take 2 meals. At least the last meal which I take, I try to not have phone with me or no distraction, right? And with family. At least one meal should be with the family. I'm saying from the Grastas, right? And when what I heard, like from like for especially the ashram residences, like if they can have one meal together, right, and then have a lecture played in the back, right? I do remember when Kalakanda Prabhu comes, right? He always says, whenever he's honoring prasadam, like open Chaitanya Charitamrita, read a verse. Like I really like his practice. Like he says, like sit here. He doesn't discuss about for one-to-one talking. He has a separate time. But at the time of honoring prasadam, he says read a verse like from Chaitanya Charita. I've often seen him, which is a very good practice. And again, like if you are alone, right? Like you can always play a lecture. Like that's what I will try to do. Not always do. Right? I'm also working on that. But it's a good practice. It's a good consciousness, because prasad is non different than from Krishna, right? And it is said that 80% of your consciousness, because prasad is something which goes inside, right? So now when you are honoring prasadam, right? So basically, like that is the direct thing which is coming, hitting your consciousness, So it is very important, like how you honor, right? Uh, any questions before going to the next verse? There are a lot of things in the next one. Yes. Hmm. So karma is, let's say, you don't know that other person how he has earned that money, like with a good mean or bad mean. Whenever you make a, maybe could be right, like with the bad means or like with the cheating or something. Whatever that karma is, you get that karma, right? That's where, like, I do remember one time Shamanakishan Babu always say, right, don't use the temple money unnecessarily or unwisely, right? Yes, yes. Mm. Yeah. Yeah, misuses. Yeah, then that karma comes to you. So it is very, very important, especially like, and that's where there is one story I was hearing in the morning, right? Like, um, one time, and this is again, this is a Treta Yuga story, like at the time of Lord Ram, like, and we will discuss more that in the next verse also, right? But since we are on this, right? So Lord Ram treats all his praja equally, and the praja means not only human beings, also animals also. So Lord Ram had a system wherein there was a bell in front of his assembly. Like whoever rings that bell, and then his grievances will be taken care of. So one time, a dog rang the bell, right? And then Lakshmana said, "Oh, there is a dog." Like, and then also said, like, let him in, right? And then Lord asked that dog, "What is the problem?" He said, "One Brahmana is troubling me." Right? So then Lord Ram summoned that Brahmana, right? So and then that Brahmana came, and then dog said, "Every day he is beating me." Right? And then Lord Ram said, "Okay, you tell what should be his punishment." Right? And then that dog said, "Make him the head of this so and so organization, spiritual organization." Right? And then Lord Ram said, "Okay, let so it be." Right? And then Lord Ram asked, he knew everything. Lord Ram, he's Lord himself, like he knew everything, but he just for the sake of others, right? Like he said, like, why you ask for that kind of punishment? You are giving me an award, like he's becoming head of this organization. He said, in the last birth, I was the head of that organization. So what I meant to say is management is very difficult, right? It looks like everybody is respecting you, but it's like a two shaded thing, right? Like wherein like because all are devotees, right? In management, you have to give correction and all that thing. So you are, and you are judged also at every point, right? In management, so it's like a two-sided thing. So it is very difficult. Like doing the management, right? It is easy like to do your bhajan than to go in the management, but it's a service, right? Uh, yeah. So let's go to the next verse. Like I said, there are a lot of things in that. Kastamachachara loka baldam dasa dharatta bala nara devasa vishna natvat karmana dvija. Let me read the translation quickly. Oh, who are you? You appear to be strong, and yet you dare kill within my protection those who are helpless. This is who is saying. Maharaj Parikshit is saying to the Kali Yuga, right? Kali, who is dressed as a Shudra. By your dress, you pose yourself to be a godly man king, but your deeds, you are opposing the principles of the twice born Kshatriya. Right? So Maharaj Parikshit is chastising Kali Yuga, right? So let's read the purport. Like I said, it has a lot of things in it. The Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya are called twice born, right? Because for these higher classes of men, there is one birth by parental conjunction, and there is another birth of cultural rejuvenation by spiritual initiation from bona fide acharya or spiritual master, right? So twice born is like once like your birth from your uh, mother, right? And the other is like when you get spiritually initiated. That is when you second time you took birth, right? So it is allowed in Brahma, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, right? So Kshatriya is also twice born like Brahmana, and his duty is to give protection to the helpless. The Kshatriya king is considered to be representative of God, to give protection to the helpless and chastise the miscreants. This is very important. Like, uh, okay, to give protection to the helpless, right? helpless not only like how we discussed in the last, helpless not only to the human beings, that also is now degrading, right? They don't right, also to his praja, which means all the living entities, right, in his kingdom, right? We know like so many stories, right, in Shastra, right, like Marashibi, right? Like you know about Maharashibi story? Okay. So there was very pious king Maharashibi. One time, like he was doing his duty, right? And pigeon flew in to his assembly, right? And then pigeon was asking for a shelter, right? And then behind him, eagle came, right? And then eagle said to king, release my food, because pigeon eats so not eagle eats pigeon, right? And then Marashibi said like, she is under my shelter, she is also my, she is my praja, like right, I'm protecting her. And then eagle said, I am also your praja, right? I'm also your praja, right? Give me my food. Then Marashibi said, if I give you something equivalent to this, right, from my own flesh, right, will you accept it? Like whatever is the weight of that pigeon, I will give you the same amount of flesh. You want to eat flesh, right? Take from my body, right? So then what they did was, they had a measuring thing, like weighing scale. So they put pigeon on one weighing scale, and then Maharashibi cut his part of his flesh from his body and put it on the other scale. But the thing is, pigeon was too heavy, so he was cutting, nothing was happening. Then he sat on the himself on that, right? And then it became equal. And then basically he surrendered himself. And then that pigeon and like the pigeon and then eagle, they were testing him. Like actually, they were demigods, right? So the main idea is, those are the kings which are mentioned in the Shastras, right? Like they can do anything for their kingsmen or their citizens, right? Again, not only human beings, animals also, right? So let's read this and we will discuss more, right? Whenever there are anomalies in this routine work for by the administrators, there is an incarnation of Lord to reestablish the principle of godly kingdom, right? In the age of Kali, sorry, I don't know. In the age of Kali, the poor helpless animals, especially the cows, which are meant to receive all sort of protection from the administrative heads, are killed without restriction. Thus, the administrative heads under whose nose such things happen are representative of God in name only. Such powerful administrators are rulers of the poor citizens by dress or office, but factually they are worthless, low-class men without the culture asset of the toys born. No one can expect justice or equality of treatment from one once born, spiritual, uncultured, low-class men. Therefore, in the age of Kali, everyone is unhappy due to maladministration of the state. The modern human society is not twice born by spiritual culture. Therefore, the people's government by the people who are not twice born must be government of Kali, in which everyone is unhappy. So basically, Prabhupada is emphasizing here is uh, where people should take second initiation. Basically, not second, basically twice born. Basically, they should get initiated, right? Even if they want to do administrative work also, you should be spiritually have taken the birth, right? You should have taken initiation. That way, like if you see in the olden times, and now also in some places we have, right? In Mayapur we have Gurukul, right? Like people, especially when they're now ashramas, right? uh, so what we talked about earlier is varnas, now ashrama, right? Like brahmacharya, uh, grasta ashram, and then vanpras, and then sannyas ashram, right? People people used to send their kids like to a gurukul, right? To so that they can learn the and again, not to a hostel. Gurukul is different than a hostel, right? So Gurukul is also where they give them spiritual education. So Gurukul is where like overall like you are learning other things as well as spirituality also, right? That is the main difference between, like they tell you how to become a good human being rather than like how to you success, only success materially. See in colleges or school, what they tell you, like you have to get this number. Everybody is running. It's a rat race, right? But in spirituality, right, like like if you see, it's totally opposite of the pyramid, right? It is about like you want to become das anudas. You become servant of the servant, right? We don't want to become master of the master, right? Right. But at the same time, if you see like devotees, like kids, like who goes to Gurukul, they have a they have a very good position in society. Like either they become a big scientist and all that, but at the same time they are practicing their spirituality also very well, right? So it's like a balance you have to strike out, right? So spirituality doesn't stop you like from becoming uh, like, because what I remember from one of the lecture, right? Like my Guru Maharaj says that, like, if you are a student, your dharma is to study well. Make show as an example to the world. Here is Krishna devotee, and then he stop in his class, right? As opposed to, like, here is Krishna devotee, and because of the practice spirituality, he is not able to like, he is failing in his exam. Be an example for the others, right? And then again, whatever you are doing, do it 100%. Like if you want to become brahmachari, like be in that ashram, be an example. If you are in grasta ashram, be an example for others. So the idea is, when people look at you, right, they want to come automatically to Krishna rather than get repelled away from Krishna, right? It's like there is one comment or question. Okay. uh, So the main idea is, I do remember one funny story. Gaurang Prabhu was like, he's in ISKCON Chowpatty, like he was narrating that story. ISKCON Chowpatty temple, they do a lot of youth preaching, right? Like there's well-known temple, right? Like so they and they have a program called Prerna Festival, which recently in Farmington Hills last week they did that when Rumpa Swami Maharaj was there, right? So they tried the Prerna Festival for the first time in Michigan, right? What he was narrating a story, like and it's very early days, like when he was preaching, right? Like he was preaching to young students, like who were doctors, or who was not doctors, basically they are in medical college, right? So, and a group of students used to come, right? And then it so happened that, like, when that program was going on, at that time, like their exams times were there, right? Like examination time, right? And then one student came, like he was okay in his studies, not too good, not too bad, but he was okay, little weak, on the weaker side, right? So he came to temple and he said to Krishna, he said, if you make me pass in this exam, like, please make me pass in the exam, right? He just said that. And then so and so happened that the result came, and then he was like, he passed the examination, right? Again, and then next day, like when Gaurang Prabhu was giving the class, like there were only 15 20 students used to come, and there were 50 students, and he was surprised, right? And he said, why there are 50 students, right? He was happy only. Then it was revealed, like, and then other students, like, they said, oh, if this person can pass the exam by going to the temple, like, we can also pass, right? Spirituality works. So I'm just saying, in a funny way, he was saying, he's not he's not saying, like, don't study and rely. We should rely on Krishna, but at the same time, Krishna said, do your duty, give your 100%, and then leave rest to me. So the main idea is that, like, whatever we do, we should give our 100%. Like if you are in the job, give your 100% in the job, and then be an example, like, for the society, that, yeah, you are practicing spirituality as well as you are doing your job also well, right? Spirituality is not an excuse for laziness. So that is very important, right? Like, it's not that actually, like, just from that, right? I remember one instance, right? I was hearing in lecture, right? uh, so one time in Mayapur, like when Mayapur temple was building up, it's such a big congregation and such a big build up, right? Mayapur, right? So when temple was building up at that time, like all the devotees, like they do their spiritual practice in the morning, and then they help in construction work also, right? So one devotee, when Prabhupada was visiting them there in Mayapur, and a couple of devotees, they complained about one devotee. They said, this devotee doesn't help us, like, in construction work. All what he does is just chant. Full day he is chanting, right? Then Prabhupada said, chanting is also work. Like, okay, do one thing, you don't do anything tomorrow, you just do chanting, right? Can you do that? right? They said we cannot do it. Like let him continue, right? Similar example comes in Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur pastime also, right? Wherein same similar thing happens, right? Where one person was chanting, right, and then and he was not helping in other things, right, in the temple, right? Then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, okay, make publish a ad in the newspaper that we will provide you food, we will provide you room, we will provide you everything. All what you have to do is just sit at one place and chant throughout the day, right? And then nobody will come. You will see, right? So actually, like chanting, like when you do chanting, right? It is also a service, right? Because when you do especially when you do congregational chanting, right, like when we chant together, it makes the place more potent. See, dham has two kind of potencies, right? Again, Prabhuji can correct me, and Nanda Prabhu also can correct me, right? When we go to dham, one thing is like pastime, Lord's pastime has been taken place there. But the actual more important thing why we visit dham is to take sadhu sangha, because lot of sadhus comes there. Their lotus dust is there in the dham, right? That is actually main. When you go to dham is not to just visit a place, right? Go to dham to take association of the sadhus, right? That's like again very the place which touched my heart is Krishna Balram temple, especially the courtyard in that. Like again, the when you stand in front of Krishna Balram and uh, uh, Radha Shyam Sundar, right, and Gaur Nitai, right, that is out of the world. But especially the courtyard where Tamal tree is there under the tree, right? It is very spiritually potent, very again, like that is something you say, right? You get a hit like when you go into that temple, especially when you enter that courtyard, right? It is very spiritually empowered, that courtyard, because so many sannyasis, right, they come and then they dance, right? And water pastime also comes there. I don't know whether you know, like what they do is in summertime they fill that courtyard with water and then with flowers, and then they make Radha Krishna sit on it, and then they have a boat festival. So many things happens in that courtyard, right? And again, everybody has their own place. I'm just saying, like that is a place which spiritually hits me a lot. Like especially Krishna Balram temple, that courtyard in the Krishna Balram temple, right? So. So back to the verse, right? Like in here, the emphasis like Prabhupada is giving is like if we have to make a good society, right, then everybody should take initiation, right? Basically everybody should practice bhakti, and then they can, and then when they are ruling, or then when they are acting as a kshatriya, right, they know like what is right and what is wrong, right? And how I was quoting earlier, right, Chanakya Pandit, right, like especially the administrative class, they should have a very strict sadhana, right? Otherwise, like they will make bad decisions, right? Because a lot of things like especially like and I was hearing like in one of the lecture that uh, for a king, if praja or anybody does bad thing, right, 1/6 of their karma goes to the king. 1/6 of the karma of the citizens goes to the king. So it is the duty of the. So now you can think about like the modern administratives, right? Like PM, president, like how much karma they are getting. If they are just only promoting the materialism, not the spirituality in the society, right? So much karma they are getting. Whatever bad citizen is doing, like they get the karma, right? That's why there's so much chaos in the society, right? And that's why Prabhupada also, one of the thing, like he was emphasizing on varnashram dharma, right? So varna and ashrama should be followed, right? Both the things, right, should be followed in the society, right? Which is quite lagging in the society. Like that is the truth, right? And again, like we have some projects like in ISKCON, right? Like in Hungary, what is that project? Yeah, they have formed like I forgot its name. Navrajdham, right? Navrajdham, right? Like where any New Vrindavan also kind of, right? They are trying to do like self-sustaining. Like if you see it's world itself, right? Like where if you once you go there, like everything is inside. Again, it's evolving, right? Gita Nagari initiative is also, it is evolving. I'd not say it's fully matured yet, right? But there are things like in Govardhan Eco Village, right? Like is one, right? It's self-sustaining. Like once you go there, like people who are living there, they're self-sustained, right? They are producing the food, even the other things also. a lot of things they are doing by themselves. Like so, they are not relying on the outside society, like for a lot of things, right? Uh, so it's 8:30. Any question or comments? We can discuss more about it. There's a lot of things in this verse. Actually, there are a lot of points. But the main idea in the two verses which we did was uh, the king or the person who is ruling, like he should be pious, like he should have Vaishnava qualities, right? He should be initiated. Then only society can make progress in a positive direction, right? Especially, and why he's pious is, and proven mention here is, cow killing is the one, cow and bull killing is the which make which tremendous karma comes with it. It is said that when you kill a cow, like how much hair the cow has in his body, that many lifetime that person has to suffer the karma of it, like the person who is killing, right? And then karma pass ons, right? Karma pass ons to the king also, right? So it is very important, like Prabhupada is emphasizing here in these two verses that a Kshatriya should be well qualified Kshatriya, right? Uh, and then any other question or comments or something to add? So good to have like Bhagavatam class in temple hall after a long time. Mhm. 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 Yes. Mhm. 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 So just adding, like I know there are a lot of grastas also on the call, right? Like just to add, right? Like from the perspective of grasta ashram, right? Well, let's say when both husband and wives are initiated, right? Now, if there is fight takes place or an argument takes place, what you will, what very first thought comes in the mind is whatever Guru Maharaj thinks about it. The moment that thought comes, then you think, like then that fight is a small thing only, because you don't want to displease your spiritual master, right? And because now because often, like one time I remember, like when I have an argument with Namakirti, right? She said that I'm daughter of your spiritual master, now speak wisely, right? So now think about it, like then you're the okay, one thing is, like now she's beyond, like under my care, like she's also under care of my, like we are not god brother and god sister, but at the same time we are like children of the same father, kind of, right? And they are just we are just playing a role of husband and wife and all that, right, in grasta ashram. But at the same time, like higher relationship is like we have same father, spiritual father, right? So when you think about that, then you think about that situation as very small, and you say, yeah, let it go, it doesn't matter, right? And similarly children's, right? Like actually all the kids who are born devotee kids, actually they are even higher than you, right? Like we I started chanting when I was in at the age of 28, right? They started chanting like from the day one. They are not though like whatever they are practicing. So all the kids and devotee always thinks like that way, right? Like everybody is elevated than me, right? Like servant of servant, right? Like everybody is and that's how pride doesn't come, right? Like it is very important, like especially for the grastas, it really helps me. Like whenever you and it arguments happen, right, in grasta ashram, right? Like when it's said, like हिंदी में बर्तन होते हैं तो खड़कते हैं, right? Basically if you have utensils, right, they will make noise, right? So it's a famous saying, right? So then that is part of the like mellow also, right, in Grasta ashram, right? But at the same time, like you should see the higher purpose why you are in that ashram. Like you are in that ashram not to enjoy, you are in that ashram to serve as a family, like for your Guru Maharaj and for the mission of Srila Prabhupada, and to serve Krishna, right? So, anything else? And anybody wants to add? Okay.
Thank you for the
Thank you.
class.
Any question on the Zoom? Not, I like to end here. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu devacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo अनंत कोटि दशरथ की जय शील प्रभुपाद की जय